Hi, I'm Jim Wells, and I'm a member of the Best of Us Investors Network, and I hope that you will join us and become a part of it. I'm going to start off this video by telling you about my morning routine. So every morning I get up, 5:30 a.m., coffee, and sit in front of the TV and turn on CNBC and start looking at my news feeds. And on CNBC, scrolling across is the commodities and the price of today's equities, and then it goes over the major exchanges. You have the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and the Russell. And then in a big green box at the bottom, you have Bitcoin. Bitcoin. It's here with the indexes. After that, I check my news feeds, Forbes, MarketWatch, and Bloomberg. And what popped up on Bloomberg today? So, NYDIG, a provider of Bitcoin-related financial services, announced it raised $200 million from investors including Stone Ridge Holdings, Morgan Stanley, New York Life, Mass Mutual, and Soros Fund Management. NYDIG said Bitcoin adoption among institutions is accelerating, citing data that insurers have more than $1 billion in Bitcoin-related exposure on its platform. The next article said, Norwegian oil billionaire, I can't say his name, you can look it up if you want to get his name, just invested $58 million in the space. Adoption, mass adoption. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? We're basically going to talk about who and why people are getting into the space of Bitcoin. What is the argument for buying Bitcoin? Well, let's first talk about mass adoption. And it all starts with the narrative. And two big people in the space are Raoul Pal and Michael Saylor. Now, Raoul Pal is an ex-hedge fund manager from Goldman Sachs. He currently runs Real Vision and writes for a paper in the Cayman Islands. Raoul Pal is a macroeconomist. Along with him and his associates, they basically are charged with the task of trying to get all of these institutions to invest 1 to 3% of their holdings in Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and the devaluing asset of the dollar. 1 to 3% of a major institution, we're talking $200-300 million at 1 to 3%. That's huge as far as getting people interested in the space and raising the market cap. Michael Saylor, who is the chief executive officer at MicroStrategy, is a huge proponent for Bitcoin. He basically put his entire company into the space, plus all of his company's stock, and his company basically tripled overnight in price. Michael Saylor's narrative is completely about the deflationary dollar. He talks about the US dollar in the next 5 years could lose as much as 10% per year. What are we going to invest in that is going to keep up with that rate? I mean, your major equities are run. If you look at big tech, are you going to get a 20% yield? You could. It's possible, but are you going to get 50%? So he's saying that if you look at the past 5 years, what asset has grown the most? And it's been Bitcoin. And what asset is going to replace gold as a store of value? So what institutional investors are coming into the space? You can purchase Bitcoin through Square and PayPal. They have been buying most of the new Bitcoin coming out of the market. Cathie Wood's ARK Investment and other corporations have been investing through Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. GBTC has acquired $20 billion in assets in the cryptocurrency space. We're talking about 10% of the total amount of Bitcoin. Mass Mutual Life Insurance Company has bought 100 million in Bitcoin. Tesla's Elon Musk has put 9% of Tesla's holdings into the space. Millionaire investors like Paul Tudor Jones, Stanley Druckenmiller, and most notably George Soros just recently, who's kind of charismatic. Right now, we are actually getting Bitcoin at a discount. When BlackRock or one of these other top 10 big institutions come into this space, buckle up. We're in for a wild ride. Michael Saylor also says, Bitcoin is digital gold that moves at the speed of light. He believes that Bitcoin will eventually replace gold as the major asset and store of value. Okay, let's talk about market cap. Price times supply. Okay, the current price of Bitcoin is right around $50,000. Okay, supply currently in circulation of Bitcoin is 18.6 million. When you multiply the price times the supply, you get the market cap, which is currently at about $930 billion. It's reached as high as $1 trillion and it had a little pullback, but it's right around that $1 trillion mark. The market cap of gold is 10 trillion. Bitcoin is 1 trillion. If Bitcoin replaces gold as the store of value, we could be looking at a $500,000 Bitcoin. As far as the scarcity issue goes, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. That makes the supply very limited with the amount of institutional investors that are coming into the space. This makes the demand very high. So what have we learned so far up to this point? Really, the four things that we've talked about as far as the things that make Bitcoin investable. Number one, we talked about decentralization. Number two, we talked about mass adoption. Number three, value. And number four, scarcity. These are the main features that makes Bitcoin investable. I want to finish up by talking about the Discord at Best of Us Investors. When I joined, I introduced myself and asked a couple of questions. And one person offered to give me a referral to move up in the line for a BlockFi credit card. Thought that was nice. Many new people on the exchange that were new to the crypto space were asking a lot of questions, and the more experienced people there were more than happy to oblige and help them out. Questions were like, where can I get certain cryptos? Which wallet should I use? Anyone heard anything about this coin? People were discussing a chart about technical analysis. You can't discuss any of this stuff with your family and your friends. They just look at you with blank stares. I had the same questions when I was coming into the space. I would really encourage you to join Best of Us Investors, become a part of us, and become a part of our Discord. Thanks, we'll see you soon.